Hey everybody, Jeff here and welcome back to the channel. Check out our latest acquisition here. We just got this the other day on sale. And so we thought we'd do a quick tool review for you because the sale only lasts until September 27th. But it's one of those once-in-a-lifetime deals that comes along that you don't want to miss out on. So in today's tool review video, we're going to show you everything about this 5-position ladder. We're going to show you all the measurements, how it works, setting it up into different positions. We'll give you some safety tips about it. And we'll compare it to my older ladder that you see in the background. It's an older version of this ladder. It's a smaller one. This is a 22-foot reach ladder. The other one that you see back over my shoulder there is a 14-foot reach ladder. So let's get started. This Werner Multi-Position Pro Ladder with power light rails has 5 different operating modes. Position number 1. This Werner Multi-Position Pro Ladder can be used as a twin step ladder where you set it up like an A shape and 2 persons can work on this at one time on either side of it. This is good for like lifting beams up over your head or, installing gutters, things like that. Position number 2 as a stairway step ladder. Position number 3 as an extension ladder, spread out all the way flat and leaning up against a wall or your roof line to get you up onto the roof. Position number 4 is self-supporting 2 scaffold bases. So this is great because you can spread them apart and put your board between them and now you've got a scaffolding. And then position number 5, you can use this Werner Multi-Position Pro Ladder as a wall ladder, which is a great way to go way up high on the wall to do painting in a safe manner. This Werner Multi-Position Pro Ladder is model number MT-22IAA XT-HD. Now normally Home Depot sells this ladder for $229, but all of a sudden this week it showed up at Home Depot at $99, and we did a video when we told everybody about it here. Here's the video that we published the other day, and as soon as we did that, like hundreds of you started to report back to us that you went out and bought that ladder. In fact, I doubt there's anybody left in this country that hasn't bought this ladder yet. Okay, so now here's some tips for you to save the maximum amount of money on this ladder here. Now, we all know they're $99 right now, but here's how you can save even more. Okay, so we went in with our 10% off Lowe's coupon. So even though the rest of you might have paid $99, we got an extra 10% off, so we paid $89 for ours. And then we also get a lot of questions from people about what do you do about this Lowe's coupon at Home Depot when you get up to the self-serve cash register? How do you do that at the self-checkout? Well, what I do is I flag down one of the attendants there, or I go to a line with a cashier, but either one, they can come and they'll set it up for you, and then you just ring yourself out. And as you can see here on the screen, here's where I ring myself out there, and you can see it rang out at $99 there, and then we got the extra 10% off from Lowe's. Shows it right there on the screen. And there's the ladder right there. Actually, with my discount, it took it down to $89.89. Oh yeah, baby. Love those discounts. And that is how you save the most amount of money on this ladder, folks. Just follow our tips and you'll save the most amount of money. So then I get the ladder out into the parking lot and I realized this isn't going to fit into my Mercedes E350. I'm like, now what am I going to do? Parking lot of Home Depot. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get this into my car. 22-foot ladder. Let's see if we can make it happen in the E350. Look at this, folks. Us engineers know how to get it done. This thing just barely fit in there. I had to roll the passenger seat all the way down. And it's kind of digging in on the leather a little bit, but so what? It's just for a quick ride home. We're going to be replacing these leather seats anyway. They already have tears in them just from years of use. But so that's why I don't really care that much. Not a big deal. But yeah, we got it to fit in. Oh yeah, baby. Booyah. Without a doubt. Now, a lot of people that we sent to go buy their ladders reported back to us that they bought these extension ladder covers that Werner makes for $10 while they were there. Make sure you do the same. They have these little pads that go on the very ends of your ladder so that when you have it up against the house and you're climbing it, that's when the ladder tends to shake and bounce and scrape on the house. But these pads on there help protect that from happening. And it keeps your ladder stationary up against the house. Also, if you are in the military, you qualify for an extra 10% discount. So a number of our subscribers had reported back to me that they used their military 10% discount at Home Depot there and got the same price I did. Okay, now let me just give you a warning about this ladder. See, Werner tells us there's 5 positions here, right? And if you try to operate this ladder in anything other than these 5 positions that they show you here, that constitutes misuse of the product, and you're liable to cause injury or even death. Well, if you want to know why I've got my Ryobi bucket top mister fan running over there, it's because it's roasting out. Look at this, 90 degrees, but 64% humidity. It's absolutely brutal out here today. Okay, so for comparison, I have our new ladder here. Here's my old one. I packed it up and put it back into its home position here. So this Werner ladder here, this is the MT-22IAA. I bought this in 2003, so I've had this for 17 years, and it still works pretty good. I'm still using it today. Probably won't be once we get this one going. But I wanted to show you, side by side, just some comparison, even though this is a smaller ladder. This is a 14-foot maximum reach. This is a 22-foot maximum reach. And let me just, warn you, a lot of times when you see these ladders in the store, it'll say 22-foot. It doesn't mean you're getting a 22-foot long ladder. It means that's the reach that you have when you're standing on the uppermost rung that they allow you to stand on, that you'll get a 22-foot. So we're going to show you all those differences and how we're going to lay it out and stretch it out, and we'll show you exactly how long it measured. Just to show you, for example, here, my older one is at about 42 inches. Newer one here is 67 inches. So the new ladder stands 5 feet 7 inches tall. That's a very common question I've been getting all week from people. How tall is that ladder? 5 feet 7 inches. Okay, now the moment you've all been waiting for, the great unveiling and unboxing of the ladder. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next. So those of you who are familiar with our channel and have seen many of our tool reviews, we like to do a lot of drop tests. And so we have dropped many, many items off the roof using this ladder to climb up there to get there to drop all of these different items off. We're not afraid to drop anything. So looking at the ladder, one of the things I really like is the way they have the J-locks now. Now they're essentially the same fundamental design as what I have on the other ladder. But man, let me tell you, these are smooth as butter. These are really, really nice. Because the problem is, and I like the way it gives you a better grip here with your 2 fingers, they just come all the way out of the housing and come down and rotate better and easier, see? There's your hole there. Let's take a look at the older one and the problems that I've always had with this one from day one. So let's see. See, they give you a much smaller space here in the J-bar, so you really have to use only just 1 finger. So here, you see how I have to keep kind of, this one's actually not too bad. Sometimes they just get a little finicky where you're trying to pull it out, and sometimes it won't come out. You're going like this, and you have to keep going all the way out. What you're supposed to do is lubricate these moving parts on a regular basis, so it's always a good idea to get some aluminum lubricant and spray it here. So I usually use like this can of aluminum lubricant and just pull it out a little bit, give it a little quick spritz there, and I'll coat that. And see, already it feels a lot smoother. But see, sometimes it just doesn't want to pull all the way out. And I think it's because of the tolerance of their mechanism in there. This is an older design, and like I said, it never worked all that great from the beginning. It does work. You just have to use a little force on it. Now the push knobs here, let's take a look at how much it has changed over the years in the design. So let me pull up my mini-me here. Here's the smaller one. So you can see the difference in the knobs. So before they were smooth, now they're kind of notched out so that they're easier to grip and they're larger. And I like that much larger size knob. It's a lot easier to get a big grip on, especially with gloves on. Okay, now I want to compare the J-locks between the 2 ladders. Here's my older ladder. And so just look at this mechanism of how it was designed back then. So we had 2 rivets right here supporting each of the rungs. So they're attached to the rail using 2 rivets. And then you got this plastic end cap here, which the J-lock rod goes into there. See? And so that's how that works. So remember how I told you, look, see how it keeps, sometimes it wants to come out and sometimes it doesn't. It's just, and then it can't come out far enough, so you end up scraping over here. Even lubrication doesn't always help with this older one. There was just too much tight tolerance on the older design. Now, they've also made another fundamental change to the design of how they handled the J-locks interfacing to the rungs here. So as I pull out the J-lock here on the newer ladder, you can see it pretty much comes out of the end here, just like the older ladder design. Except look how this big piece of plastic is. It's no longer just a little end cap piece of plastic where the J-lock comes out of the end. It's now wrapped around the whole front as a big wedge-shaped support piece, and it is riveted through the thick plastic and through the rung where it is attached to the backside of the rung. So it has become a much more of a enveloping type support here, right where the rung is attached. Okay, so as we put this J-lock back into position, you know, you're probably looking at this and you're probably thinking, hey man, this is only one rivet. This thing, they took a downgrade in quality there. No, they didn't. There's actually a rivet here and a rivet here, and this is the third one. So if I peel it back, you see, there's the other rivet right there. So there's actually one on the top and there's actually one on the top and one on the bottom here. And I like these new color schemes they have now. So they have this extra support bracket here on the end, and it's some kind of a nice amber colored metal. Now they added these on here too, these plastic guards. I'm not really sure what they do. They're very rubbery, so I'm assuming they're there to maybe absorb the shock if it falls over or something. Maybe it's also there for some amount of torsional support for the outer rail. Just not sure. These things here, I suspect they might be somewhat reflective at night. I don't know, I haven't tried it yet. That start at the bottom and work their way up the top of the ladder. All of these other rungs have double rivets. Now as you come around and look at the back side of it, see how they're attached? There's the back side of your rivets right there. And what's interesting is look at the reinforcement they have on the first and second steps. See how they have that extra little reinforced bracket there? And then down at the bottom one here, that's a whole vertical separate piece right there that helps tie in and anchor that angle brace right there. But interesting, once you get past the first couple of rungs, you don't have the reinforcements there. So I don't know why they had them on the first ones and not on the second ones. Now compare that to the older ladder. You can see here, same. They have the double rivets, but what they don't have is on the older ladder is those reinforcements. These little subtle differences that make all the difference in the world. So look at this here. They have just this other plate here that's riveted on. Gives a little bit more support there. And then this ladder also adds the strapping that goes across. I don't really see how that can be that much support. It looks kind of thin, but it is intentioned. So hey, look, their engineers designed it. It was done on computer. Okay, now there's safety stickers all over this ladder. And again, let me just keep reiterating, folks, you don't know everything about ladders, so make sure you read every single one of these stickers before you operate this ladder so you know what to do and what not to do. Because the emergency rooms are filled with idiots every day that don't ever stop to read the instructions or have any common sense. If you just rely on your own common sense, you're going to be in the emergency room. Since this is a new ladder that you've never used before, don't think you know everything about ladder safety, because I guarantee you don't. And there's new features on this ladder that you've likely not seen before. So there's a QR code on the side here that you just put your phone up to it, right? And you scan it, and you go right to the web page for it, and it brings up a little safety video for you. So it's a little safety video. Just watch that before you use this ladder for the first time.
Several different ways to access that information about your ladder. The instruction and warning labels are located on the ladder rails. And each ladder comes with a product manual.
Okay, let's stretch your legs. We're going to extend the ladder up, and we're going to put it in mode 1 here, which is the step ladder mode. That's that A shape. That's a 2-person step ladder mode. We want to see how high it goes. Now in the instruction manual and on the sticker, it says that it has a maximum reach of 13 feet 2 inches. with a 5'6" person on the uppermost rung that you're allowed to stand up. By the way, just as a safety precaution here, folks, whenever you're extending up your ladder, make sure there's no wires overhead, because this is a metal ladder and you will get shocked and you could most likely die. Because especially if you're outside hitting those wires that have high voltage, you're a goner, man. The safest way to do these ladders when you're doing it in an extension mode is to lay them down on the ground and stretch them out. All right, so you unlock the 4 J-locks. Okay, then you just take the intersection and you go up, and they have holes every 12 inches. So we're just going to take this one up to the max. Here's the last one right there. Okay, so once you get that first J-lock in, the others just go right in. This is much smoother operation than the old one. And by the way, you do not step on this ladder ever until all 4 of these J-locks are in. And there she is, standing tall and proud. She's already above my gutter line, which is nice. So I don't even have to fully extend this ladder at all to get it to do what I want it to do. Okay, so to put it in the step ladder mode, what we're going to do is push in on the lock knobs here, these push knobs. Now, make sure you're familiar with when it's locked and when it's unlocked. So when you push them in, that unlocks them. So remember, anytime you see these 3 bars here like this, exposed like that, that means it's unlocked, and that's dangerous. You shouldn't be on the ladder when it's unlocked. So anytime you get on the ladder, before you get on it, you should always inspect this to make sure that this is in place here, that these are locked, and that all 4 J bars here are locked. Okay, so I will show you both methods for opening this up, to extend it up. This is sort of the lazy man's method that I see a lot of people do, where you just kind of, while it's in the A-frame mode here, you start lifting it up, lifting it up. Probably works better with 2 people because one guy can do the J-lock. See, but once you start getting up to this point, it's going to get harder to extend it, see? So then, you might have to come back down a little bit. You may not be able to get it up as high as you wanted it to get. See, so then you start locking all of your J-locks, your J-lows. So you're just going to have to keep playing this wiggling game to get it back down. I mean, it works, but it's not the smoothest way to do it. Lay it down on the ground like this. Then you just lift it up. Whereas now if I use my mini-me ladder, you can see the difference in height here between the 2. So I'm definitely glad I got this one. I can reach much higher when I need a step ladder. Okay, let's measure the height here. So it looks like it's about 1 inch under 9 feet tall. So this 3rd rung down is really the highest rung that they want you to step from. See, so here I am here. I'm going to see how high this is. Yeah, so I am right now at the 13. My pointer finger is sitting on the 13-foot mark, right? So that's pretty close to the 13 feet 2 inches that they claim. I'm 5'9". Okay, now to turn your Werner Multi-Position Pro Ladder into an extension ladder or a straight ladder, I find it's just easy to do it on the ground. So I make sure my knobs are in, they're unlocked, and it's just so much easier to do it down on the ground. Just stretch it out, and it's going to get caught in all 3 locations here on this. So you just, each time it gets caught, you undo it, you unlock them, and I think we've got it here. And I want to measure this real quick. Okay, now remember, this is not fully extended yet. This is just, all we did was unfold the ladder. We have not telescoped the ladder yet. So let's see how much we can get. This is the minimum length of your step ladder. So it looks like you have about 10 feet 10 inches is the minimum length of this extension ladder. So we're going to undo the J-lock there and the J-low here. We'll pull this all the way up. Where does it? Yeah. Okay, so now I'll put the J-lock back in here. And you can always find the hole easily because it's the last rung that you'll see on the intersection. That's how you'll know that's where that last hole is. And remember, they're conveniently spaced 12 inches apart. So it shouldn't be a secret as to where it's located. Okay, now we'll go and do this other section here. We'll unlock these J-Los and slide out the outer rail. We'll take it all the way to the very last rung. And you can see the hump on it. That's how you know that's where the pin is going to go there. Just look for those humps. So we'll get him in there. And he's locked in. So we are now at the maximum length of our ladder. Let's see how long this is now. Test, test, test. Okay. Okay, now we'll go and do this other section here. We'll unlock these J-Los and slide out the outer rail. We'll take it all the way to the very last rung. And you can see the hump on it. That's how you know that's where the pin is going to go there. Just look for those humps. So we'll get him in there. And he's locked in. So we are now at the maximum length of our ladder. Let's see how long this is now. Walk it all the way down to the end. All the way into the other zip code. And I can see here, I'm just under 19 feet. So I've got 18 feet 9 inches. Now, of course, you can adjust this telescopic ladder to be any distance between that first distance that we showed you, anywhere from 10 feet up to 18 feet in 1 foot increments. So you can see here where my J-locks are. There's that hump in the middle. And this one there has that hump in the middle. That's how you know that's where the holes are, see? Boom. Use that as your guide as you're sliding these telescopic sections up and down. Now, to lift the ladder up like this, when it's this long and extended out, it's really difficult for one person to do it. It's highly recommended to have 2 people. Many hands make light work. But what you normally would want to do is come at a perpendicular angle to the house, right? And make sure that both feet are up against the bottom of the wall. That way, when you go to lift the ladder up, these won't try to lift up away from the wall. They have nowhere to go. We don't have enough room. I'm going to see if we can do it with the one leg right there. It's holding. So now that I have it extended up, I just kind of pulled the base of the ladder out. You want it to be at a 70-degree angle or so, 75-degree angle from the floor. So what I do is I just plant my feet up against the ladder like this. And at shoulder height, I lock my arm straight down. And if that makes it right there, then that's the angle. This is where you want it to be. Now, when you're climbing up the ladder, I like to not make any kind of weight shifts at all. I like to go straight up. My belt buckle is going straight up the middle. Don't go racing up. Don't go, running up on one side. You want to stay with your weight in the middle. See, just like this. You get up top, you do your business, you don't go up above that rung right up there. You always want to stay on the third rung. And coming down, you just take it nice and slow. Just hang on to those rungs. And see how the ladder wants to wiggle a little bit? You just take all of that into account. Don't let it make you lose your balance. Always hang on tight, one rung at a time. Nobody goes to the emergency room today. By the way, if you have a buddy working with you to have them hold the ladder steady for you too, I think this is the best position to have them inside the ladder, because also if you should drop something, it's not likely to land on them. Okay, so now getting this ladder down is going to be a little trickier, because now you're not against the bottom of the house anymore. When you get it to the halfway point, the bottom's going to want to lift up. What do? So what I think I might try to do here is see if we can't lower it down a little bit first. So we'll just slowly guide it down a little bit. So now we're down at the ground level here. And we'll lock it into place. And now we're at a much more manageable height here that I can pretty easily deal with this. You just come down. This is like cutting down a tree. You got to be really precise and accurate here. And there you go. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh yeah. Man, this keeps you nice and cool. We did a pretty cool tool review video on this misting fan a couple of weeks ago. I'll put a link to it down in the description for you. You should definitely check that one out. We compared it to the DeWalt job site fan as well. Good review. Now to recover from extension ladder mode, I preferred again to lay it down on the ground. Just slide everything up to the end. Relatch it back up to a smaller section. Like that. Everything's locked in place here now. Okay, now in this mode we're going to show you how to use it as a scaffold. Now normally you would pull off the two parts like that, into two separate pieces. But I think it's just too much to try to lift that tall section way up over your head. So we're going to lay it down and try it and see how that works. You can see I've got the telescopic section over there sort of set up like a step ladder. But remember, don't ever use either of these separately as a step ladder, because the ladder is not designed like that. There's no footing on that interior telescopic section. All right, so now the other two pieces, you take them, you bring them together, and you make sure that they're turned around so that one is facing the other. The back is against the other one. So what you can do here is bring this J-lock around, see, and insert it right in there. And you come back around the back side and you do the exact same thing. And then you just separate this out like that till they kind of, it almost locks in place, really, just because of the way they're up against each other. See, now it's nice and solid. Okay, now I don't have a 2x12 floating around. I had one, I don't know where it is, but anyway. You then take your 2x12, and it's supposed to be really long enough to go all the way across both of them and overhang out like that. And then you're supposed to tie them down to the ladder. And then don't ever step on that side either. You're only supposed to step in the area between the two here. I think this is about as high as I would want to go on the scaffolding. Okay, now to undo your scaffold, we're just going to reverse the steps. And again, we're going to lay both of these sections down on the ground because it's easier, I think, to slide them back in that way. So we're just going to reverse our steps here. We're going to undo the J-lows. Okay, and remember now, the rungs have to face with the corduroy. I call it the corduroy. The grooved sides facing outward. So remember, we have to reverse this guy back around here like this. See? Now there's a couple of charts that you can get in the owner's manual. One of them shows you the working heights. So you just look across to the 22-foot model and go down the column there, and it gives you the working heights, whether you're using it as a step ladder or an extension ladder or a stair ladder or as a scaffold or as a wall ladder. And same thing with the positions. It tells you how many different positions you can get out of each particular setup that you choose, whether you choose the step ladder, the extension ladder, the stair ladder, the scaffold, or the wall ladder. So now we want to set this up as what we call a wall ladder configuration. So if we want to paint right up here at this wall above us here, what we do is we set it up in our regular step ladder formation here, and then make sure all of our J-locks are out here. They are. And then we're going to lift up, raise the height to about where we want it. Right there. And then here, lock this one in place. Okay. All right, so now that we have it set up as the step ladder formation, what we want to do is lower one side by one rung, and I usually do that on the wall side. So let's do that now. I'm going to lower, unlock the J-Lows, bring it down one rung, which should take us right to here, and then this one right here. Now you just bring it up against the wall there, and there you have it, see? Now to operate this in stair mode, what we do is we set it up like we do our normal step ladder, and then you widen it out here. And we're going to let this end drop as we come down and widen it, see? Just let the interior, just let it keep dropping here. Go a little wider. And try to get it to we can get it on that rung there, and that's where it locks in. Out with it here, and just lower it down some more. And this here is the idea of how you do it on the stairs. You have one that is lower that's supporting the actual climbing side, which is going to be there. Well, I hope you're finding this video useful so far, and if you are, hey, do us a favor, would you? Give us a thumbs up down below. That tells us that you like us. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, man, yeah, you know what to do by now, don't you? Just click that subscribe button down below there. And when you do that, click the little bell icon next to it. That tells YouTube to alert you every time we upload a video, because we have so many great videos for you. We have all sorts of home remodeling projects and tiling, and we do kitchens and bathrooms and electrical failures and all sorts of engineering disasters around your house. So if you haven't been subscribed to our channel yet, then you want to do it right now without a doubt. Hey, so thank you so much for joining us this week, folks. I hope you get out there and get this ladder and get it nice and dirt cheap, and we'll see you on the next one.